What is transnationalism and what are transnational practices? In this video, we'll be looking at the concept of transnationalism and transnational practices. In a world increasingly characterized by globalization, politically, socially, and economically, transnationalism refers to the increasing exchanges, connections, and practices of individuals, communities, and institutions across national borders. Accordingly, activities and identities are no longer bound to borders of the nation-state. Instead, activities take place and identities are formed on a transnational scale. In short, transnationalism concerns the cross-border connections between people who have migrated to other countries and people who remain in the country of origin. A closely related concept is diaspora, which you can learn more about in this video on the channel. But how is transnationalism defined amongst academics? Academics have conceptualized transnationalism in different ways over time, but some common ground can be found between the definitions. Basch and others define transnationalism as the process by which immigrants forge and sustain multi-stranded social relations that link together their societies of origin and settlement. Now, Verdevec in 1999 conceptualized transnationalism as multiple ties and interactions linking people or institutions across the border of nation-states, while Portes and colleagues restricted the concept of transnationalism to occupations and activities that require regular and sustained social contacts over time and across national borders for their implementation. Now, others emphasize the flow of immaterial things such as ideas and feelings of solidarity across borders that serve to form transnational identities. Other scholars like Levitt and Glick Schiller view transnationalism more broadly and include constructed identities, social groups, and social expectations and cultural values as evidence of transnational lives. Although narrower or broader definitions of transnationalism exist together, all definitions contain a sense of ties, networks, contact, and relationships across national boundaries. Transnational connections can be both material and immaterial. Furthermore, two interpretations of transnationalism are commonly distinguished. This is transnationalism as a so-called social field and a rather practice-oriented interpretation. The social field interpretation of transnationalism focuses on the creation of networks beyond national boundaries, while the practice-oriented interpretation focuses on very specific transnational ties and actions. We will turn to some examples of transnationalism in just a moment. So, what are transnational practices? Now that we know the various definitions and interpretations of transnationalism, we can take a closer look at transnational practices. In other words, how does transnationalism practically take place? Some scholars view transnationalism as linked to habitual activities that are performed on a regular and patterned basis, like travel or economic activities undertaken in two different countries or the sending of remittances. These practices can be more or less institutionalized and more or less frequent in nature. Now, transnational practices are those practices where migrants retain and sustain ties with the country of origin and include a wide range of political, economic, religious, cultural, and social practices. Practices can be either material or immaterial. So some examples of transnational practices include migrants sending money to their families and friends in the country of origin that are generally called remittances, and what are called reverse remittances, where money is sent from the country of origin to the country of destination. Also, buying houses in the country of origin or sending gifts and goods to the country of origin are all examples of transnational practices. Now, more immaterial transnational practices pertain to the exchange and dissemination of ideas, norms, and values across borders, which are generally referred to as social remittances. So some examples of immaterial transnational practices are things like staying informed of social and political developments in the country of origin, membership in political parties in the country of origin, voting for elections in the country of origin, and even running for political office, but also the transfer and dissemination of cultural and political ideas and visits to the home country, as well as other things. Now, why is this an area that has grown in importance over time? Already in 1999, Verdevac, discussing transnationalism, explained that transnationalism, here defined as long-distance networks, certainly preceded the nation. Yet, today these systems of ties, interactions, exchange, and mobility function intensively and in real time while being spread throughout the world. Certainly, transnationalism is very closely related to two major global developments, that is, globalization and the development of communicative technologies. The combination of these global developments have significantly intensified transnationalism. On one hand, globalization has led to increasing interconnectedness of the world, economically, socially, culturally, and politically. And on the other hand, the rapid development of communication technologies has severely enhanced the opportunity to sustain long-distance ties. So in short, the combined developments of innovative technologies and globalization, including increased air travel, have led to more transnationalism than ever before. Now, transnationalism is very often used as an adjective, added with another word which pertains to a specific phenomenon or activity across borders. So examples of this are things like transnational families or transnational parenting, transnational diasporas, transnational activism or transnational identities, transnational childhoods, and transnational lives. Now, these phenomena all have in common that they transcend the boundaries of the nation-state, instead taking place at a transnational level across countries and across international borders. While there's much more that can be discussed here, and do look out for other videos on this channel discussing transnationalism, I hope this video gave you some more insight into the topic of transnationalism. Please be sure to leave your questions in the comments and like the video if you found it helpful. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to never miss this channel's weekly videos, and I do hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.